Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the ice, brought to you by Dokespoke Fields, Case Financial Group, Toby Hockey, and Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Tonight's guest, Jason Nicholetts, the general manager of the Brick team out of Alberta, bringing both the 2011s and 2012s to the Brick Invitational that starts next week already. Man, that's going to be early. June 29th to July 10th at the West Edmonton Mall. We're looking forward to chatting with Jason, getting the teams together, both ages, as well as the preparations and the dealings of the Brick, and why it's so great to have this tournament for this great age of young men that are playing this wonderful sport we love. So tonight on the ice, please welcome Jason Nicholetts. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to join me on the ice. Hello and welcome, and how are we doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Right on. So you're the general manager of the Brick teams, correct? And you take care of both the teams?
I do take care of both teams. So from work, yeah, I've had two stints with Team Brick. Started with the 99 group, actually with Team Chicago. And then a couple years with the East Coast Selects program, and then took the Brick over again with the 2007 age group.
So what is it about the Brick Invitational that you love so much working as a general manager?
You know, I take a lot of pride, and I've been involved in the game for many, many years. I've coached for about 25 years up to the junior level, and it's a unique experience that I can't even really put into words. So it's a memory these kids will have for a lifetime. We do an alumni breakfast every year. We actually do a third jersey. Just the history of the tournament. Kids, there's a jersey exchange at the end of the tournament. So kids traditionally don't want to give up their jerseys. So we came up with a concept where we give them three. So they usually keep two and give one away. And then we bring previous players to that breakfast, and they present the kids with the third jersey. And it's pretty unique because no one sees that jersey until the actual alumni breakfast. So we take a lot of pride in it, but it's an experience these kids and families won't have traditionally until they get up into the junior ranks and whatnot. So we really try to make it special and memorable.
Jason, you've grown up with the game, like you said, for several decades coaching. What is it so much about teaching these young kids and giving them this opportunity that is so great in tournaments like the Brick?
You know what? Honestly, it's just paying it forward and giving it back. I've got a lot of experience relative to coaching, playing, and good and bad. So based on that experience, I have a lot of big passion for it. Love kids, love being around the kids. And if I can provide something and that's a positive experience for them and kind of give them an insight to what to expect in the elite stream of things, I just find it very rewarding.
So the home rink, is there a positive advantage to that, Jason? I mean, Alberta, home crowds, West Edmonton Mall, there's going to be a lot of kids, a lot of players, a lot of everybody roaming around to check what's going on in the rink. But does the Brick team offer any type of advantage being the home team?
Well, it's obviously extremely unique playing hockey on a mall. It's not too often where, the fans or the parents or, the alumni can lean over the boards and shout directions. So I think the pressure, it's a pressure cooker, to be honest. So we do try to take advantage of it. It's more of a cost recovery program. So previously, up until about last year, it was really cost prohibitive to practice in the mall. But we've worked with the mall over the last couple of years to utilize it more to our advantage because it is a smaller rink. It's not your traditional NHL size. It's like a really small neutral zone and big ends. So we've started to hold our tryouts there, as well as practice there to give the kids, just get them comfortable with that scenario. With the 2,000 screaming fans throughout a tournament, it can be a little overwhelming for 9 and 10-year-olds.
Absolutely. So you say it's a smaller ice surface. I grew up with a bigger ice surface near something Olympic size. Good old Dutton Arena here, but it's a little bit, you said the neutral zone's kind of squished and the end zones are somewhat relatively the same?
Yeah, it is. It's shorter too. So it's, I don't have the dimensions off the top of my head, but it's a unique surface for sure. And then obviously I don't know if you've been in the mall, but there's a skylight above.
Yeah.
So in the midst of July, you can imagine the heat, not to mention the people within the mall. So it's pretty strenuous on the kids because it does get warm. The ice usually gets wet, which creates it to be soft. And then downstairs in the change rooms, it gets extremely warm as well. So there's lots of challenges for the kids. So again, using that to our advantage as much as we can, we do it.
So cooler air, cloudy skies,
Yeah,
and bring sunglasses if it's sunny at 7 a.m., I'm told.
that's what we hope for.
That's what we hope for. Tell us a little bit about the preparations that you've had to put together, Jason, over the last couple of years. I mean, last year with the tournament being not able to be played, but inviting both the 2011s and 2012s, how important is it for the both ages to return to the Brick Invitational and have that opportunity to play once again?
I mean, obviously, it's a tradition. There's actually a wall of fame downstairs where every kid that's played in the tournament is on the wall. And it's something kids strive to be part of. Obviously, it's very prestigious, and a lot of kids have gone on to a successful NHL career. So, keeping that tradition rolling year after year is important, and giving each age group that opportunity. Obviously, COVID, halted that for a while, and it hurt the 11s, the 10s and 11s. So we actually, I'm sure you talked to the Toronto guys, but we came together as Canadian franchises last year and ran something called the True Invitational Cup, which encompassed just the Canadian teams to give the 2010s an opportunity. Obviously, not the Brick, but the Brick executive gave us approval to run at the mall and give those kids as much of the experience as possible. Obviously, we didn't have the American teams, but and then doing 2 birth years. I don't run the tournament, but I'm very close with the executive group, and you can imagine the volunteers and the time that goes into doing 2 age groups. Even for us as a staff, it's myself and 5 coaches, so we've got 2 teams. So it's not what we traditionally do, but I think it was important to do it for both age groups and give them that experience.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the process of putting these two teams together for you, Jason. You said 5 coaches, yourself. How did the process all start? Give us a bit of a timeline on when you start preparing for these teams for the upcoming tournaments.
Well, it's pretty unique. We've got a great staff. So myself as the general manager, and sometimes I double and go on the bench as well, just based on my experience, because I bond with them too. Serge Lajoie, who coached in Kamloops with the Blazers and then was at U of A, and Nate, he's our coach mentor. Umberto Fiorello was our head coach, who also coached at Nate, runs a hockey academy and coached at U of A. Sandra Pisani, who coached midget AAA in St. Albert. Mike Fiorello, who also coached midget AAA and runs the St. Albert Hockey Academy. So we got a very, very advanced staff in terms of his experience. We all bring something a little bit different, but we work as a cohesive unit, and it goes great. So we kind of work together to put the process together. And if I look at Team Canada World Juniors, right, they don't have an opportunity to practice and spend months together, and obviously there's not enough puck to go around for type A players all the time. So we do a 6-week program. So ultimately we want to give enough kids an experience to come to a tryout. So we invite only 120 kids at Christmas. Then we define that down to about 50. And then we do a combine in March where we'll bring those top 50 kids, cut again down on the Saturday, and then select the team based on what we see through that event. And then, not to interfere with other programs and stuff, we run a 6-week kind of training camp, which usually starts at the end of May. We'll do one event prior to the Brick tournament, and then we get rolling. So it seems to have worked. It's very unique for these families because most of these kids have never been cut before. So it's pretty strenuous, especially in the combine weekend where you start on a Friday and then Saturday night, we're releasing 20 players, which, being cut for the first time is tough. So there's obviously a lot of emotions involved.
How important is this? Quickly touch on that. How important is it for a player to understand that, you can't put 120 players on one team, but there are other opportunities, not just this Brick tournament, but to continue on and continue with the sport they love for the years to come?
We obviously want to be very empathetic. So we do a pretty big parent meeting prior to both events, just explaining the process. And we're looking for a team. We're not looking for the 17 best offensive players. So based on our experience, you got to have pieces of the puzzle that fit, right? So you've got to have guys that can check. You got to guys that have to defend. Obviously, need some puck stoppers, and you need some offense. So we try to pick a team that's based on our experience, what's going to work, right, and what can fit together. So we explain to the parents and explain to the kids when we do release them. We try to turn it to a positive, and it's worked out well. Obviously, there's some disappointment, and those last 3 to 4 picks, we're never 100% right, but as we explain to the parents, if we're 80%, we're doing pretty good. And that's ultimately our goal. But we do background checks. We go pretty deep as a staff. Sounds kind of crazy for 9-year-olds, but it does make a difference, right? You got to have those right dynamics to make into a team with a 6-week program. Everybody has to buy in. We have core values that we need to follow, and we explain it quite thoroughly to the parents. And again, we got a pretty strong group, and it's a very clear message. But I'd say 90% of the feedback is positive. And then you always get the 1 or 2 that were really close and didn't make it. It's tough for them to understand.
This process, like you said, it's quite extensive and it's unique at the same time. In terms of a geography, Jason, are we looking at players from all over Alberta, or do we have most of the players from the Edmonton, Calgary cities?
I mean, obviously, the strength of hockey is in the hubs of the cities, but we take pride in really stretching out. So we've had, kids from Beaver. We got a kid from Beaver Lodge, Alberta this year that's playing. We had a kid from last year from Fowler, Alberta. So we've created a brand and a culture with a pretty big following. And then obviously, based on our experience, we have a pretty big network. And then we utilize alumni people, right, to identify kids from different areas. So, but it ranges from year to year, south to north, and we do get a bunch of every year. We have 3, 4, 5 small town kids, and we do take pride that these kids get that opportunity from every corner of Alberta.
Last question before I let you go to break with me, Jason. What type of teams are we bringing to the Brick? Can you let us in on? We're looking at speed. Are we looking at size? We're looking at dangles. We're looking for some. What kind of team is the Brick bringing?
Well, it's funny. So we went to the finals with the 2009 group, and we gave up the least amount of goals in the tournament, which was 9, and we scored 20, which wasn't the highest. So at the end of the day, we build a team. So we're not looking for the dangler. It doesn't happen in the Brick, and anyone that's familiar with it, those players, it's very, very rare we can get one kid that can go end to end. He's usually turning the puck over. The kids are too advanced at this level. So ultimately, we find a good team. And we build that team environment. We don't rely on one player. We like to be 3 lines deep, and six defenders that can defend.
So it's the all-round team concept brought to you from the Brick team here this upcoming week. I like that, Jason. Let's stick around. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about not just the games that'll be played, because it's a strenuous schedule for these teams, but some of the stuff that occurs outside of the rink as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back on the ice. Back with Jason Nicholetts, the general manager of Team Brick, representing the hometown province of Alberta. We just finished discussing about the concept of the complete team, 3 full lines, the importance of goals for, goals against, having strong teams, built teams, not just for all the Austin Matthews out there, but a balance. Jason, is that the right word to use when you put the team like this together?
Well, don't get me wrong. I'd love to have an Austin Matthews. They just don't come around every day.
You can't have 9 Austin Matthews and not 6 Paul Coffeys, though. That's the problem, right, Jason?
Yeah, we were pretty fortunate with our own 9 group. We had a good balanced team, but we had a D-man, Landon DuPont, which was very special. And he could do things at that age that most players can't. So it is a benefit to the teams that have that player. We don't have that player this year with the 11s or 12, so it will be a team concept.
Absolutely. Team concept is key. We talked a little bit about the coaching staffs that you've put together, Jason. How impressive is that and that relationship that is built with this young group of men so far with these coaches and realizing the wealth of knowledge, the professionalism, the preparations that take place for a week-long tournament, but also just the sign of things to come when they get older as well.
Well, I mean, we built the team like we, built the staff like we built the team, right? And actually, the Brick executive hired me as the management group and the coaching staff separately. But ironically, I had based on my coaching history, I had relationships with all those coaches. One coached my son, who went to an academy where one of the other guys were with, and then I coached with a couple of them. So it was very unique. So we already had a relationship prior, but it's a servant leadership style. I mean, we all have input, we all have roles. We don't really worry about titles. We all value each other's opinion, and it's really worked well. And I think that's the strength of our program is the collaboration amongst the group, and we're always on the same page. So it's really worked out well.
Speaking of the same page, Jason, how important is it for these young players to realize that their job is to play a tournament with a game they love, hockey, but there's going to be a lot of extracurriculars involved throughout the week? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, West Edmonton Mall is not the smallest place to go play a hockey game in. And there's going to be a lot of eyes watching that they know and they don't know. And there's going to be some downtime. There's going to be some time for kids that are 10, 11 years old to want to be kids. How do we keep it all together, Jason, and make sure that there is a focus at a time? There needs to be a focus and there's time for kids to be kids.
Well, I mean, again, we got pretty strong personalities, and we understand that, but there's lots of time to be a kid. Obviously, an event like this, everybody takes great pride in it, and winning it is special, not just for the players and the families, but the coaches as well. It's a very tough event to win. So we put a structured itinerary together for the entire event. There is some downtime, and we take that into consideration, but it's very limited. So the kids get a couple 3 hours at the amusement park, and then after the event there's a beach party where there's another competition where they go through like a mini Olympics. So there's time, but these kids are pretty mature for their age, obviously, not just skill wise, but in terms of their personalities as well, and they understand the expectation, and we make it fun, but it's pretty structured. So we don't want them hanging out in the mall and running around the mall. We do give them some time to watch and experience it, but there has to be downtime, mealtime. We actually do video review with a lot of them. We do a lot of one-on-ones. So we run it like a junior program, to be honest.
That's that mentality, that preparation, Jason. I mean, can you go back? I can go back a little bit when I was 9 and 10. I hope you can remember when you were 9 and 10. Can you imagine like where we have come from to get to today and all of the improvements and technology and the planning and the preparation for a team, for anybody that gets involved in this sport, how much of an investment it truly is?
It's incredible. And like I said, I think the hockey side away from it, again, fortunate with the staff we have. So Umberto is a master at video. And he really breaks down and makes it relative. So we obviously video our games, but then we'll show the pro level videos that basically the same concepts, right? They're just bigger, stronger, faster, but it's similar concepts we're trying to incorporate. So when you can see it at the 9-year-old level and then see it at the pro level, I think it makes it more tangible for the kids, and they realize that we're trying to teach them the same concepts at the higher level.
Do the kids make mention of conversation up leading up to the Brick, saying they know so and so played at the Brick and they're in the NHL, or there's a list that you can find online that shows where these past players are now currently playing? How do you just keep it in check to say this is our focus for today and we can worry about later?
I think it's just again our culture and what we prepare them for. And those names are on the wall, like I said, downstairs. They got the wall of fame, so the kids look at it all the time. And I think it's something for them to strive towards. Not every kid's going to get there, but I mean, I think even pros that come around, and we try to bring different guys out to practices and whatnot to partake. And the kids, even adults remember the brick. It's just something that sticks with them throughout lives. You build relationships. And again, the way we run it, I think it exposes these families, and just the structure of the program really gives everybody a taste of what to come. And, kids aren't doing video at night and video review and one-on-one meetings and so on and so forth. So I think it's for everybody a learning experience. We found actually when we took the program over with the 2007 birth year, and you always adapt as a coaching staff, right? So the first year we had a good team. The coaching staff had never coached in the tournament before. I had, right? So I tried to explain it, but until you do it, you don't understand it, right? So it was a learning experience for everybody. But it was funny, and you learn from kids. So one of the kids said to me, "Why don't our parents cheer?" And it's not that they weren't cheering, but parents are sometimes so passionate, they forget, right? Because they want to win so bad. And there's, some pretty rambunctious fans and whatnot. So it really made me think about it. And we started the booster club the next year. And the booster club's responsibility is to build signs, give the parents something to do other than just focusing on the game. So they have a task. And having parents cheering as opposed to just watching and, having a stern look on their face when things aren't going well. And if they're having fun, the kids are going to have more fun, because you can be the best coach in the world. At the end of the day, mom and dad, they're going to listen to mom and dad, right? So that booster club made a difference for our program, to be honest. And I think the parents have enjoyed it and ran with it. And it's been a big part of our culture going forward since that birth year.
Jason, I need to ask you this question because you've been there before. You've played in a lot of tournaments like this and been a part of them. What is the atmosphere, the energy like playing at West Edmonton Mall, for these players and for these coaches? Can you set the scene for us just to what we might expect next week?
It's hard to really put into words, but my head coach says it perfectly, right? He's coached in a national championship with the University of Alberta Golden Bears and won. He said he's more nervous going on the bench in the brick tournament than he was at that tournament. So it's unique because everything's so confined, right? You're on top of the glass. There's no niche. There's no stands. You're just leaning on the glass, and then you've got the upper tier with people over top looking down. So it's unique. It's challenging. You can't explain it. It's rambunctious. It's loud. Obviously, different. Our first home game is usually jam packed. Then obviously, as the term progresses in playoffs, if we're doing well, we're going to have the most fans. But regardless of the game and whoever's playing, it's a pretty good. You just get bystanders that walk by too that have no idea what the brick is, but just stop and watch because you don't see hockey in a mall.
Absolutely. No, it's very unique. I mean, you've got the amusement park, you've got all the shops, you've got the 7 layers of everything, you got the water park, and then you got a hockey rink.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you've got a hockey rink. That's there. And that's
Yep.
awesome. The preparations once you're in Edmonton, Jason, like you said, there's a little bit of video review, there's the downtime, there's the schedule. How important is that for the team throughout the course of the week? And are there any expectations for being at the brick?
Well, yeah, we have, like I said, we have an expectation. We want to carry ourselves with pride and wear the logo and represent it well. We have, we run a pretty tight ship. I think the toughest thing for the group is, we're taking arguably the best 17 players. And of those 17 players, each of them in their own respect are probably the best players in their team. So now we're asking guys that scored 100 goals in the winter season to defend or to block pucks, or maybe you're not playing in the last 5 minutes because, the player from whatever Beaver Lodge is outplayed the player from Edmonton, right? So it's really tough. And some kids honestly struggle with the environment, right? So I still recall our first year, one of our best players, we're playing Detroit in overtime, and he was so stressed out he couldn't go on the ice, right? So obviously parents have an opinion. So again, we communicate as much as we possibly can and just tell them to be parents, and ice time is not negotiable for us. But the player did not want to go on the ice in overtime. So like I said, the emotions that run through every player in this event is different. Some people can excel in that environment, and others just squeeze their stick too tight and never really get going. So it's unfortunate, but they're 9 and 10 years old, so it's really tough.
Jason, I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening here on the ice. What are the colors, team colors of the jerseys? And you said there's a third jersey, correct?
Yeah, we do every year. We try to make it unique to the age group. So we're lucky where our ops guy Darren King is involved with apparel. We try to make it unique. We don't have a standard jersey, but we'll go with a black, we'll go with a white, and we'll go with a red. That third jersey and that reveal will be on the Monday, the 27th. But our home and away will be our black and red. So we traditionally try to model a little bit of Team Canada too. Black and red is one jersey, red and black, and then white and red is our third jersey. And then we actually I think it was about 3 years ago. I don't know if you remember Team Canada, what they had, the blues.
Yeah.
So we've got blue shells for our white, so it's pretty unique. And we take, we want to look good and play good, right? So we definitely try to be the best jersey in the tournament every year and make it unique to that age group. So we'll see how it goes this year.
I remember the blues from like the late 80s Canada Cup style, Jason.
That's
what I remember the blues.
Yeah, you got it. So we got that shell. So that color blue is in one of our shells. We got a black shell and a blue shell, and the kids haven't seen the blue shell yet, but that'll be revealed, like I said, on Monday.
Awesome. So, uniform for coming to the rink?
Sorry?
Uniform coming to the rink? Are we three-piece suits? Are we doing golf shirts and shorts?
No, just golf shirts and shorts, and then we got some off-ice apparel, so we'll switch it up every day. It's warm, and it's we make it look professional but informal at the same time.
That's what you got to do. You got to keep it loose as much as possible. These boys are looking to get involved in a very strenuous schedule, but a fun schedule at the same time. It's like 5-6 games in a 7-day span. Lots of rest, lots of nutrition as well.
Yeah, it goes by quick.
It goes by quick. Let's hope it gets it to the finals, Jason. I really appreciate the time again. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or say hi to before we say goodbye?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I always want to thank the parents for obviously trusting us with their kids and putting them through the process, because I know it's been tough with COVID the last couple of years, and having the ability to do the 11s and 12s, as tough as it is, you can imagine the way we do things, 6 weeks, 2 teams. We usually run 4 practices a weekend with one age group. Now with 2 teams, we had to scale it back a little bit, but we're on the ice 6 times a weekend with these 2 groups. And then we went to Winnipeg for an event as well. So it's tough. I mean, the coaches, for the most part, all have pretty young families, with the exception of Serge and I, who have, our kids are a little bit older, so they're taking time away from their kids and stuff too, to give these players an opportunity they'll enjoy.
How was the tournament in Winnipeg?
It was good. For us, it's more evaluation and get the team together and see where we need to put pieces, move things around, and where we need to adjust. So we didn't really care too much about the wins and losses. The 11s are a very deep group, so we don't have that one rock star, but we're deep and very high IQ. So we lost in the finals to Minnesota. Based on my experience, it's one of the better Minnesota teams I've ever seen. So it'll be interesting when they get to the mall. The 12s, we got a little bit of work, and I really think COVID affected a lot of these kids. Especially the 12s, they lost a year of development, so we've got our work cut out with those guys. But they're good kids. They work hard. They're just used to being freelancers, and buying into a concept is tough. So we were yet to put 60 minutes together. I shouldn't say that. Our last game, we actually beat Saskatchewan, and we played a pretty complete game, and we were successful, and the kids bought in. So hopefully that result will lead to a positive tournament. So.
Well, Jason, I look forward to seeing what happens and transpires over the coming weeks in Edmonton. Good luck to both teams, and we will see you in Edmonton next week.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
That is General Manager Jason Nicholetts with the Brick team out of Alberta. We will be with him June 29th to July 10th at West Edmonton Mall ASTV. We will be providing play-by-play in color, as well as some interviews and some game in analysis. I'd like to thank him for joining me, as well as all the coaches before the Brick Invitational here on ASTV, bringing more goodness to the greatness as always. I'd like to thank our sponsors once again for a great month lead up, and we look forward to hearing and seeing more of them in the upcoming weeks. Take care of yourselves, take care of your friends and your neighbors, and have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye for now. Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena,
home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.